Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bucket Discussions podcast, a channel, man. Yo, whatever you want to call it. It is your boy J Coop, man, back with another J Coop convo, you feel me? And in today's discussion, man, I kind of just want to go over every free agency move that I personally think is worth talking about, and every free agency move that I think could potentially help the team that made that move. So, without any more waiting, man, let's get straight into this video.
Hey, yo, foreigner, you crazy for this one.
Okay. Yeah, that thing I'm jab riding when I'm left hooking. Fiends say they love me cause they know I keep that sack moving. Sad to say, but this the life that I have grew in. I had to hustle, skipping class, man, I was true in. I can flip some packs and teach you how to do it. This the real deal. Better watch your back cause people will kill. Kill Bill, kill switch on the Glock. Yeah, this the real. And people spin around them blocks just like a Ferris wheel. But that's enough of that. Let me tell you about my life and where I grew up at. I grew up in the south of Topeka. Then I moved to the east in the streets and I ain't fucking with neither. I ain't the type to go with kill or go and sit on that block. I'm the type to get some trees.
I think it's safe to say that we're going to have to go ahead and start with one of the biggest trades that have taken place so far, and that is Malcolm Brogdon to the Boston Celtics for honestly not that much. The package really didn't include that much. It really only included one rotational player for the Boston Celtics, and that was Daniel Tice. But other than that, they really didn't give up that much for Malcolm Brogdon. The only other players that they did give up was Aaron Nesmith, Juwan Morgan, Nick Stauskas, and also a 2023 first-round pick. So, like I said, man, this was kind of like a low-risk, high-reward type move because the biggest thing about Malcolm Brogdon is his health. Everyone knows that Malcolm Brogdon is a pretty decent, serviceable NBA player, but one thing about Malcolm Brogdon is he has trouble staying healthy. He has trouble staying on the court. But like I said, man, this is kind of just like a low-risk, high-reward type move because you bring in a player that's averaging almost 20 points and 6 assists to the Boston Celtics team that did just come off a finals run, losing to the Warriors in 6 games. That is a pretty good move for the Boston Celtics if you ask me personally, you know what I'm saying? And another move that they did make was Denali Golinari coming to the Boston Celtics after being waived from the San Antonio Spurs. So I also think that will help their depth a little bit because, like I said, man, they really didn't give up that many players that were in the rotation anyway in the playoffs. So you're bringing in 2 players that have had some experience under the belts and honestly are pretty serviceable NBA players. Like I said, man, Malcolm Brogdon, his numbers on the season, he averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and also 6 assists. And Denali Golinari, he was a pretty serviceable player for the Atlanta Hawks this season as well. You know what I'm saying? He averaged 11 points and 5 rebounds on the season. And I think the past 4 or 5 seasons, he's averaged like 40% from the three-point line. So Denali Golinari is a very, very consistent NBA player, and I do think that he will fit this Boston Celtics team very well because, like I said, man, the one thing that we saw when it came to this Boston Celtics team in the playoffs and specifically in the finals was their age. And you add 2 players that have already been there, kind of done that. Malcolm Brogdon, he's still pretty young himself, and he hasn't really had that much playoff experience. But like I said, man, he's averaging 20 points and 6 assists. And one thing we do know about the Boston Celtics team is they could use another playmaker. And you bring in another guy that's averaging 6 assists, man, I feel like that's just the perfect move for the Boston Celtics, if you ask me. Moving on to this next trade, man, I want to go ahead and talk about the Dallas Mavericks acquiring Christian Wood from the Houston Rockets, man, because this package that the Dallas Mavericks did give up was really not significant at all. The biggest or the most significant player that they did give up in this trade was Trey Burke, man, and just because he averaged the most minutes for this team out of all these players that were traded, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the only other players that were traded in this trade for the Dallas Mavericks was Sterling Brown, Marquise Chris, Boban Marjanovic, who was probably one of the biggest guys in the locker room for them, you know what I'm saying, just when it comes to that leadership in the locker room. But other than that, man, like I said, Trey Burke was probably their biggest rotational player that they gave up. So just like the last trade, man, this was kind of like a low-risk, high-reward type move just because you really didn't give that much up. And you're bringing in a player in Christian Wood who averaged 18 points, 10 rebounds, and also 2 assists on the season last season for the Houston Rockets. Another reason I do think this trade was just fantastic for the Dallas Mavericks is because you look at last season and you look at the player that was running the pick and roll with Luka Doncic and Dwight Powell. I think this is going to be a significant upgrade for the Dallas Mavericks throwing Christian Wood into that pick and roll alongside Luka Doncic, man, because Dwight Powell was definitely not it, man. But another move that the Dallas Mavericks made that I really want to go ahead and talk about is going to be JaVale McGee signing a 3-year deal worth $20 million, because I feel like I said, man, the Dallas Mavericks, ever since Luka Doncic has gotten to this team, they have not had any great big man or even good big man, that is. And I feel like you're bringing in 2 in 1 offseason in JaVale McGee and Christian Wood. Bro, the Dallas Mavericks, they definitely got a scary squad over there, considering Tim Hardaway Jr. is coming back. Just keep an eye out on them. You know what I'm saying? Just keep an eye out on them, because they did just make the Western Conference Final this year after beating the best team in the league in the Phoenix Suns by a long shot. So, yeah, man, the Dallas Mavericks are going to be a scary team next year, man. Just watch out. Another signing I want to go ahead and talk about that might not be that big of a signing to other people or other teams in general is going to be Dante Divincenzo signing a 2-year deal with the Golden State Warriors worth $9 million. So I feel like this is just a perfect move that the Golden State Warriors could have made just after losing Gary Payton Jr. to the Portland Trailblazers. Man, I feel like you're bringing in another defensive guard who can shoot threes and just spread the floor in general, man. Dante Divincenzo, he's a 6'4" shooting guard who can, like I said, stretch the floor. He averaged 9 assists last season, also 4 rebounds and 3 assists. So I feel like, just like I said, man, he's going to come in, stretch the floor, just provide a little bit of extra playmaking, and I do think he will be a big presence on the defensive end when it comes to this Golden State Warriors team, because after losing a couple, rotational players for the Golden State Warriors, man, you guys are definitely going to need some players that can come off the bench and just play some quick defense and shoot some threes, you know what I'm saying? And Dante Divincenzo is the perfect answer for that, so I think that is a very good move for the Golden State Warriors, especially, like I said, considering all the people who have left their team so far this offseason, man. So, yeah, great move. But the last signing of the day I want to go ahead and talk about is kind of similar to the last signing that we talked about. It's really not that big of a name. It's really not that big of a free agent, but I definitely feel like he can come in to this team, fit their culture, and help them reach the goal that they are trying to reach, which is obviously a championship, because one thing we know, every team is contending for something. Regardless if you're the 15th seed Houston Rockets contending for a higher, pick in the draft, regardless if you're an 8 seed contending for a playoff spot, or if you are a number 1 seed contending for an NBA title, man. Every team is contending for something, and I definitely feel like this player is going to help this team, man. I feel like PJ Tucker is the perfect fit to add alongside Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers, especially on the deal that he's getting. It's a pretty team-friendly deal, man. You know what I'm saying? $33 million for a 3-year deal is pretty solid, especially in today's NBA, and especially for a player like PJ Tucker, man. So, yeah, we just seen PJ Tucker have a pretty cool season with the Miami Heat, man. I definitely feel like he fit their culture just as well. And that's one thing we can say about PJ Tucker, man. No matter where he goes, he's going to be productive, at least just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. PJ Tucker, for the season, though, he averaged 7.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. So, yeah, man, I really do think PJ Tucker is just going to come into this Philadelphia 76ers organization and just help provide a little bit of everything from the defensive side of the court, the offensive side of the court. He's definitely going to be in that corner shooting threes. And again, he's going to be doing his damn thing on the defensive side of the court, man, just like he's always done, regardless if he was with the Phoenix Suns, the Houston Rockets, or even recently with the Miami Heat, man. So, yeah, man, that pretty much wraps up all the free agency moves that I think are personally worth talking about so far. We still do have a long free agency to go. Kevin Durant just requested a trade a couple of days ago, so we're still going to have to deal with that regardless if he gets traded before the season starts or a little bit after. We're just going to have to see what happens, man. But that pretty much wraps up this free agency video, man. I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to tap into these videos we've been putting out. We've really been grinding. We've really been working hard. So I really do appreciate it because you guys have been showing an immense amount of love. And I really don't know how else to say thank y'all. Just because, I love talking about basketball. This is what we do. And, yeah, man, I really do appreciate y'all. But until next time, y'all, keep bucket discussing. Keep loving the game, and I'm out, man. Peace.
In the jungle like I'm Conan, kind of with both hands. Switch the flow like it was broken. I'm on the road, man. Making plays just like DeRozan. I shoot my shot, and that shit wetter than the ocean. I brag a lot, but with the win and come the boasting. I made a lot from them apartments that I sold, and he didn't make it up to college. So them streets where he enrolled in. I know I'm a scholar from the moments that I was exposed in.